Good morning, little friends. It is Sunday, August 23rd, and we are here again with you for Big Church for Little People. We are so glad that you have joined us today. Now, I know it's a little bit different meeting online and having to see a virtual setting of Kids Church, but over the past few weeks, we've been going over the fruits of the Spirit, and we have another great one for you here today. But we wanted to say that we miss you very, very, very much, and we miss your families. We miss everything about meeting all together. And we cannot wait for us to be able to gather again, hopefully, which will be soon. So I am very happy that you are here with us again today. It's kind of a cloudier day today, but we are back in the garden. Who remembers the fruit of the Spirit that we talked about last week? I know you guys were listening. You're a wonderful audience. And yes, we were talking about the banana. And the banana is a very important fruit when we were discussing God's goodness. And if you paid close attention, I wanted you to do some acts of goodness this week. And so hopefully you were on your goodness trail and have your parents send us some video or just a shout out of how good you were doing this week, showing God's goodness that was flowing through you and through your heart. Now, today we're going to do another fruit of the Spirit, and it happens to be, again, one of Miss Selena's favorite fruits, which is, of course, a shocker. But this fruit is green. I'm going to give you a little clue about that. Any guesses? Now, this one is definitely a special fruit because it comes today in two. Now, we are talking about, who knows what these are? These are called a pear, and together they are a pear. Now, why on earth would we use the pear to talk about something in the Bible? Now, it serves as a great reminder for something in our fruit of the Spirit's category called faithfulness. Now, why on earth would we talk about the pear when we talk about God's faithfulness? Now, real fast, when I think of a pear, obviously it's green, which is an amazing color, but when we put it in two, when I think of the pear, I think of the word pear. And so here we have a pear. Now, the way that my brain works is when I think of a pear, I think of something amazing and great, like a friendship. Now, two great things come in a pair, and that's best friends. How many of you guys have a best friend? Raise your hand. I have a best friend. In fact, I have a little circle of people that I like to call my best friends. But when we think about a pair and we look at the pair, we think of two. And when I think of two, I think of companionship and friendship and somebody that I am very close to that is very special to my heart, and we can think of a best friend. Now, in our big, huge realm of friends, very much Jesus is our very big best friend. But when we think about God's faithfulness and we look at the pair, we're going to think of two. We're going to think of a pair, and that makes us think of best friends. Now, I hope you guys have best friends because they're a great addition to your life, something very special and important for you to have. But best friends are faithful. They are somebody that you can count on. They're somebody that you can call any time of the day. They're somebody that you can rely on who is always going to be there for you. And so today, the fruit of the Spirit, we're going to talk about God's faithfulness, because just like a pair of pears, our best friends are very faithful, and we should thank God for our very best friends every single day. So if you have a best friend in your little circle at home, you need to pray for them daily. You need to thank God for them daily, because those best friends that are put in your life are put in your life for a very special reason. And those companionships, those friendships are sent from God, and they are definitely very special to us. Now, we're going to talk about God's faithfulness. I'm going to put down my pears. But when we think about faithfulness, we have to be reminded of God and all of the great stories in the Bible where God has shown his faithfulness. Now, what is faithfulness? I'm going to kind of bring you back to what I was talking about, having a best friend. A faithful person, and faithfulness is something and somebody that you can count on, somebody that you can trust, somebody that is always there for you, somebody that is somebody that you can lean on or depend on when you're worried, scared, in trouble, or you just need somebody to talk to. And Jesus is our very big best friend. We can be very grateful for that. But going back to faithfulness, we have to understand that when we think about being faithful, that relationship that we have with God is a two-way street. We are faithful to God and He is faithful to us. Now, there's a very great and amazing story in the Bible, and we're going to talk about the story of Noah. But when we look in the book of Genesis, we read about Noah, and we read about how he was a very faithful servant to God. Now, God would speak to Noah, and He would talk to Noah, and Noah would talk to God. And God asked Noah to do something very special. Do you remember? I know we've covered this story in kids' church. Yes, God asked Noah to do a very special task. And it was a hard one because maybe Noah wasn't ready for this task. But he asked Noah, he said, I know that you're faithful and you can do this. He asked him to build a great, big, huge ark. Now, for whatever reason he wanted to build that ark, Noah was not sure, but he did it anyway. He was faithful to God. He listened to God. And no matter what came about, Noah did what he had to do, and he built that huge, huge ark. It took him a very long time. In fact, back then, there was no rain in the sky. There was nothing to make Noah think that, hey, we're going to need this great big boat. But he did it anyway. He was faithful to God. He listened to Him. He trusted Him. He knew that God would never lead him astray. And so he completed that task. And he built that boat. He built that ark. And he followed God's commands on bringing all the animals in 2 by 2. But you know what? This is a very special story because God used Noah that day. He used Noah to save all of those animals, to save Noah's own family, because there was a reason that God was going to send the flood and send the rain. And that day, He reminded Noah, you were faithful to me, I'm going to be faithful to you. So he saved God's family, which was Noah's family. And from that point on, we are reminded when we see the great big rainbow in the sky that God keeps His promises. And just like a best friend, just like somebody you can count on, Jesus is our very big best friend, and He is always faithful to us. We put our trust in Him. We pray every single day when we need something. We can ask Him and go to prayer, and we can depend on Him. And God is faithful. He's faithful to answer our prayers. He's faithful to be there for you no matter what. In your struggles, in your happy times, in your prayer times, in your worried or scared times, He's there for us anytime. And that makes Him the very best friend. Now, we have a memory verse, and this memory verse today is found in Psalms 33. It says, for the word of the Lord is right and true. He is faithful in all that He does. And just like that story of Noah, he was faithful in everything that he did. He was faithful in what he told Noah. He came through. He saved his family. And that is an amazing story of how when we trust God, He comes through and does amazing things for us. Now, I'm so glad that you guys were here today. I want you this week to think about how you can be faithful, how somebody else can lean on you and trust in you. Because just like our best friends, we want to be that shining example for other people as well. We want to be trustworthy and faithful. We want to be a good friend to somebody else. So these fruits of the Spirit that we have been talking about, they're huge things for us to take part in every single week. We show them out of the way that we live because that's the way that God shines through us. Now remember we talked about that last week with the banana and the shiny yellow banana. how when we live for God and we do the things that He asks us to do, we're shining examples for Him. Now, I'm glad that you're here. I want you to be a shining example this week. And this week I want you to show your faithfulness. I want you to spread all of those fruits of the Spirit. But number one, this week we're going to work on our faithfulness. That means we do what we say we're going to do. That means that we are dependable, we're trustworthy, we keep our word, and we are living for Jesus no matter what. Thanks for joining in. We will see you next week. Take care.